another interesting episode of Inside Out, and this week we'll be talking about something that I call the Naija issue. I remember many years on this program, I was doing something about exam malpractice, and I learned a proverb that I will never forget. Because one of the students on that panel said to me, "Eni tó bá mọ way, ló mọ̀wé." That it is the person that knows road that is intelligent. That there are people who spend their time reading and come out with nothing. That in school you see students who don't attend lectures and that they end up with better results than those who spend their time reading. So he said the general saying in schools is that you don't really need to read. It's "Eni tó bá mọ̀wé, ló mọ̀wé." And I thought that is so weird because growing up I never heard that. I've heard on this program where a teacher came and said a parent bribed him for common entrance exam. And I've heard where students have said to lecturers, "Be fooling yourself there, your mates are collecting money." There's just so much that seems to be going on. And it seems to me like the general mentality in the country today is you cannot get anywhere without connection. Now, we want to find out if this is a statement of fact. Is it that you cannot succeed in life today without connection? Has merit ceased to work or count in the society we find ourselves in today? That is the topic that we'll be discussing. No connection, no success. Is it true? So I have a panel that, well, I'm hoping will bring out the merits and the demerits of this conversation. Is it really true? Because that seems to be the general impression. And I'm going to be starting my introductions from my left. Please help me welcome Elijah John. He's the CEO of Early World International. You're welcome. Chief Dr. Iwowari B. James. He's the MD, Golden Ray Integrated Energy Therapy Institute. Sir, you're welcome. Ukine Bodari. Yes? She's the CEO, Postgraduate Finishing Academy. And let me say that she's one young lady that we are very proud of.
Thank you very much.
Did you use connection?
No.
Are you sure?
We'll talk about it.
Okay. And so we'd like to welcome Mr. John Ikalia. You're welcome again.
Thank you.
So let me start the conversation with the first person I introduced. What is your opinion? You're a young man, you're in the Nigerian society. What is your opinion? Do you think connections matter in Nigeria today?
Oh, thank you. I think we need to be honest and truthful with ourselves if we want to move forward in really dealing with the issue that faces the Nigerian society. This has been happening for a while now, and connection is the order of the day in the sense that merit is fading out.
Merit is fading out
bit by bit, because with the story you started with, if you notice that people don't even get the first class they deserve, but the people that know their way actually get the result. And it's so interesting that it's getting into our system that if we don't get the right people in the right places, we don't get the job done. For example, I go for a pitch, I defend my pitch, the idea is good, but at the end of the day, the man that has the final say already have a candidate that he wants to bring in to do the job. And the person gets the job, sometimes even steals your own idea and give it to the person, and the person gets the job done. And you're wondering, what's happening? Are we really in the fair community where you can create something and you can defend it and people will give you that honor? I'm sorry to say we are not. And this is what has brought us to where we are. Looking at it from the political scene to even to secondary school. Parents are bribing teachers to increase the score of students because they want them to go to the next class. So all these things are
In secondary school.
I'm telling you, it's eaten into our system that even the average Nigerian will just tell you that if you don't know that man, you can't get the job done. And this is where we find ourselves.
Okay. Let me talk to Kenny Bob. I'm going to be talking to you last, Chief. Let me get an overview. Now, you basically also work in an area where you deal with HR and all of that, plus the finishing school and all that. Can you tell me what your opinion is on this issue?
Okay,
because while he was talking, you kept nodding your head. I wasn't really expecting you to be agreeing with him.
No, I agree with it. It's 50-50 for me. Because a lot of people feel that all it takes is having a connection. But the truth of the matter is, the reason that I don't agree that merit is going out of the window. In fact, I think that the issue of connection, getting a job that you don't deserve because you know somebody, is not as prevalent as it used to be, because a lot of people have learned their lessons. Many people gave jobs to the people they were related to, and those businesses don't exist anymore. Many people are learning, but there's a reason why it cannot go out of the window, not just in Nigeria, but everywhere in the world. It's trust. When I explain it to young people, I always ask them a question. Everybody who is in the job market has an auntie or an uncle or somebody who can actually help them. But will they help you? Trust is an issue. Because if you're my child and I paid for you to pass secondary school with the belief that when you get to university, you would work hard. You didn't work hard. I had to pay for you to go to university. Maybe you don't have the right attitude. When I'm at home, I say, oh, help me do this. You say, hey, please, I don't have time. If somebody calls me and says, please, I am looking for someone. I need somebody who is hardworking, who is smart, who is intelligent. Because it is somebody that trusts me, with whom I have to protect my reputation, I will most likely not recommend you. I will probably recommend...
Is that really true?
Yes, it is. Because I'll give you an example. Like you said, we work with graduates now. Because HR people have been burnt a lot of times. People come to interviews and they speak well and they say, I can do this, I can do that. So you take them on and you find out that they can't. Sometimes they don't want to do an advert.
Have you ever had someone who has, have you ever had a time when you've had people that need employment and they haven't come from someone?
Yes, a lot.
They just walked in and they got it?
Yes. The truth is, I always tell people, when you see an advert in the paper or you see people spending money to advertise their vacancies, they don't have to. If they already had the person they wanted to employ, they wouldn't spend that much money.
A lot of people believe that they're just fulfilling all righteousness.
Yes. But at the same time, it's always a balance.
It's like, what was that issue when the stadium was full?
Yeah.
It was advertised.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, the immigration one.
Yes.
Yeah. They advertised it, but we understand that the slots were already taken. Meanwhile, all the stadium all over the country.
Yes. Like I said, it can be totally eradicated. But in many cases, now I get calls a lot from HR people telling me, oh, I need somebody who is this, and they give you criteria. They don't know these people, but they just want somebody else to stake their own reputation on those people. So when you say, okay, I'm sending you from my students, I'm sending you these 5, they ask you, are you sure about them? So because it's like a connection, though I don't know these students personally, they've gone through a graduate employability training, and I'm trying to recommend them for jobs. But even I tell them in class, if you are 50 in a class, and somebody calls me out of the blue and says, okay, I need a smart young person who can do this and that, whose name will come to my head first? The people that I trust, the people I can vouch for. So sometimes connections work.
What about the people you like?
So why would I like you? I'm not related to you. No, I will give you a perfect example. There were some people who I liked, maybe because they're very respectful or very meek and all that. But I found it hard to recommend them ahead of those who I know will, I can vouch for. And that's real, that's very real. That's very real. A lot of people go through that. A lot of people I can tell you that there have been some of my family members who were looking for jobs. In fact, I have a sister who was out of a job for 7 months. While she was out of a job, at least not less than 50 of my students got jobs. So it depends on the individual. But any smart, intelligent person wants to recommend people for a job people that they can vouch for, and that's the truth. Okay. So we are all connected, but the people that know you closely, who can vouch for you, will they vouch for you? That's very key. How are you going to use those people around you? Like if you have an uncle who has a business, some people hate their uncles because he's so wicked. He has this company, he won't give me a job. But how does your uncle see you? Does he still see you like that little girl, that cute boy, or has he seen the professional in you? So connections, we can't run away from it. But are you using it to your advantage?
Okay, let me talk to you, Mr. Ikalia. What is your view?
Okay, my view about connection in Nigeria in terms of getting job. First of all, I will see it from the angle of merit. And also, I'm also going to see it from the angle of where people use connection to sacrifice merit on the altar of mediocrity. Now, she made mention of something just now, adverts in the papers. People place adverts in the papers. They place adverts in the papers. That means they're actually looking for the right candidates. But
does it really mean they're looking for?
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's my question, because I asked the same question, and somebody said, it is just to fulfill all righteousness. They are not taking anybody through this.
Most times, it depends on organizations.
Yeah.
It could be some are meant to fulfill righteousness, or it could be some are actually out there to look out for talents, people who have the skills to match the job that they want, that they place the advert for. I also liken the connection she talks about with the lights we have here. Okay, now you have a wire. Without the wire, you can't get lights. So that means there's a form of connection there. Now, the thing I always tell individuals, young men and women, is that for everything we do in this country, apart from getting good education, getting the right skills, we have to make ourselves brands that stand out, brands that people can vouch for, brands that people can look, which is why today you have things like LinkedIn that is used as a professional network. Believe it or not, that's a form of connection, but it's in a positive limelight. It's in a positive limelight because you find you have to follow people, you follow HROs like them, they are going to look at your set skills, they go through your profile, they are going to do search about you, and when they are true about, I think they come back to say, okay, let's invite this chap for an interview. It happens. I've seen people get jobs like that.
Did you get your job by merit?
Yes, I got mine.
How did you get your job?
Yes, I'll tell you that. Now, I serve in the north. I serve in the northern part of Nigeria. I had a friend, he was a copper like myself. I was working in a teaching hospital in the School of Nursing, and he was just out there, just outside outside the hospital, and he called me. Hi, John, there is a job here. People are here, they are looking for somebody with these set skills. I think you fit into these set skills. Please come down here. Believe it or not, he was there. He heard it, and he had to call me. What will I call that? Connection? Yes, in a way. Information. He got it right and said, please, I have somebody who has these set skills and meets this criteria. Which is
what Uki is talking about.
Exactly.
Yes. So I was invited. I was passing out, and I got that job.
So you went through the interview, you didn't know anybody in the company, or was your friend working there?
Yes, and even where I worked today,
was your friend working in that company?
He was a copper like myself then, like a decade ago. He was a copper like myself, and through just that word, information, I was invited, went through the interview stage and everything passed, and got my first job. Then even my present job was through a paper advert, Guardian, believe it or not.
You got it through a newspaper advert?
Yes. Yes, through a newspaper.
You applied, you saw
yes,
an opening?
I applied, I saw an opening, I felt I had the skills, the experience, and I applied. I was invited, I knew nobody. That's where you have to build yourself as brands. You have to have self-confidence, you have to make sure your academic qualification matches exactly what you have on paper. Not you say you are, for example, you're a medical doctor, you can't even take delivery. Wrong. You can't say you're a computer scientist, you don't even know how to reboot a computer. Wrong skills. So you have to have the right skills.
So whatever you claim you are, make sure that
make sure you are it, and make sure you are a brand, a star. I always liken it to the footballers. I'll liken this to the footballers. The footballers can never hide. If you have the skills, you have the skills. Kanu had the skills, that's why he became a star. What's the other name? Mike has the skills, that's why today he's the captain of the team going for the Olympics. So you can't hide. Ronaldo, Messi, name them. Their skills stands them out. So connection cannot just work there. If you don't have the set skills, it doesn't work. It's a no-go area.
Okay. Chief, let me talk to you now. Yeah. What is your view?
Yeah, my view, an issue of connection. Let me first say that the story you told us about the young child who said, if you know your way, you don't need to study. It's very pathetic. I just hope that such people do not find themselves in positions of authority and responsibility. Because then
I'm saying even the mindset that how they got to thinking like that is a problem.
Yeah, we'll come to that. I hope they don't get into positions because they continuously wreck the fabrics of the society. It's already wrecked, but we want to find a way to stop the wreckage so that we can go back to the values that we used to have. I've had 3 major jobs since I came out from school. I mean, from secondary school, then to higher institutions, then to now that I am retired, just retired last year. All the jobs I have gotten as a person, I have never known anybody. I just applied and they called me for interview. I went and passed and I got the jobs. In fact, the last one, which is the 3rd job, was kind of miraculous. And I use the word miraculous with a caution. We seem to live away our faith and our personal responsibility from the whole thing. We want to rely on brother, we want to rely on sister, we want to rely on cousin or uncle. It is not, the reason is not far-fetched. Some cultures in this country do, rely on patronage. This is my brother, this is my sister. And when my sister gets the job, we go and do Thanksgiving in the church. So there is need for it to
because I was going to ask that
yeah.
I'm sitting down with 4 of you and 3 of you are saying you got your job on merit.
Yes.
And I'm asking that, is this really the reality of what?
Yeah,
then why are people complaining?
Yeah, that's the point.
I didn't even know that there are still people who get on merit.
Yeah.
Because it almost seems like, a few months ago or so, there was all that noise about how children of some big men got into the CBNs and the co without even going through the process. CBN never advertised that they were looking for. If anything, they were saying there was an embargo on jobs. Yeah. And you hear that the elites all have their children working there.
So that's where this cultural thing comes in. Some cultures will say, okay, it must be my person, it must be our own. And therefore they make sure that Tom is on the head, they give notes to Tom, take Peter, you must take John, you must take somebody, so that you make sure that it doesn't go out.
Has that ever happened to you?
It has never happened to me, unfortunately.
Nobody has ever sent you a note?
Well, people send notes. Happening to me as in...
As in, do you get people requesting you to employ people?
Yes,
because...
yes, it does happen.
So what do you do?
But the point is, you see, I've had an orientation from the corporate environments where I come from. When you get a recommendation and you act based on the recommendation, if anything happens in future, you take responsibility. Absolutely. And because you don't want to take responsibility for negative things, you will become cautionary. Okay? In the environment we find ourselves now, if you advertise for 10 positions, you might get 10,000 applications. And out of the 10,000 applications, you find that it's only 15 that are capable of occupying that position. And when you bring these 15, you find that you still have to retrain them another 8 to 8 months, sometimes to 18 months, before they'll be able to perform those functions that you want them to perform. Organizations in this country are spending a lot of money retraining employees that ordinarily would have been plug and play coming out from the universities. So that is the challenge. When you buy marks, when you buy questions, when you buy all the things that you are supposed to...
But let me ask this question. You know, this is a young man. And if I was to do an opinion poll here, which I might do, you'll find out that there's a lot of, should I use the word, belief that hard work doesn't pay anymore.
It is a wrong belief.
Is it a wrong belief?
Yes. It's a very, very wrong belief. And if you plot the graph of Nigeria's progress from what it was from the early 60s to now.
I have somebody who said a story to me about the fact that, you know, I'm tired of this country. I came out with a first class, and I've been looking for work for 5 years.
Okay.
And my friend who had a third class is working in the bank.
Okay.
That, you see, let us be careful not to generalize bad behaviors.
No, I don't want to generalize. Yeah. It's good that we have this here.
Okay.
But, you know, my thought process is, in order to see why there is a situation, there's a need to understand how people view it and why it became viewed like that, for want of a better word. Yeah. Because if I sit down, look at 3 of you, I say to myself, then why do we have all the complaints? But there are the complaints. All you need to do is go on social media and read what young people think. You put out an ad, the amount of skepticism that will follow that ad. Like, why are you people wasting our time when all your children are already, do you understand? Or you talk about school, they say all your children are abroad, you want us to, do you understand? You can almost not do anything right because there's a general feeling that nothing works.
I would just want to say something about that. You know, there's a challenge with the fact that there are so many unemployed youth.
Plenty.
So as a recruiter, you find that, like he mentioned, if you put out an ad and you get 200 people apply, and there have been some times where you would interview the whole 200 and you don't want any of them. So when you're flustered...
That's based on merit, none of them
Yes, based on merit, none of them fit. So you decide, you know what, instead of going through this process, let me call people I know. Do you know anybody that can fit this thing for me? Can you recommend anyone? So because there's so many unemployed people, it becomes...
it's a perception.
Yes. So, and then, this is not to say that there are not people who just go for the, let me just get my sister in. But like I said, many people have gotten their fingers burnt. And it's easier for me, if I'm like the elite now, let's not talk, I don't want to talk about the government sector now, private. If I'm the MD of an organization, it's easier for me if you're my cousin's younger brother, something, and I've tested you and I see that you don't fit a vacancy. To save my organization, it's easier for me to put you on an allowance than bring you in to do a job that you can't do and the organization suffers. So many times, what he just said about his friend that called him, that friend had other friends. Why did the friend call him? Yeah. So when I say we are all connected, it's very important because there's already that mindset that.
So you believe that
connection, people don't try.
Yes.
Yeah. So people don't try hard.
Yes.
Connection can even come from the fact that you went somewhere to be an intern. Like my first job came from the fact that I went there as a copper. And one day, at 7:30 a.m., the HR person saw me in the lift carrying somebody's printer and like 7:30 a.m., what are you doing in the lift? Why are you even here already? And I was going on about how, no, I need to get this thing fixed. You know, that's a connection. She might not be my mother, she might not be my auntie, but a connection is a connection. It's just interest.
So it is actually about you building yourself.
Yes.
To be seen as valuable.
Exactly.
Yes. From what you said.
Like what she's saying,
I'll come to you. I'll come to you.
I'll buttress it a bit.
Yes.
Okay. You know, the private sector is the only sector that prays this prayer every day. Give us this day our daily bread. That means you have to get the right people to work so that you can get that daily bread. So if you don't have the right people with the right skills, you can't even get anything at the end of the day. That is why, okay, for some companies that are into sales and marketing, you have to get people who have that aggressive zeal to sell. The degree may be there, for example. Oh, I came out with a first class. I came out with a 2-1, a third class or whatever. But you know, the people who are going to interview them are going to look at certain things. Like
Not necessarily your degree or your claim.
I read something recently. It was written like this, that employ people with character. Skills can be acquired on the job. Employ character, you can always get the skills. Get a graduate, as long as that person has gone through the 4 walls of the university, you can train that person on the job if he has the right character, the right attitude. Attitude is the only thing that equals 100%.
Yeah, let me.
I think we're getting very, very wrong.
Okay.
Right? The reason I'm saying this is because there's a lot of motivational speakers that tend to motivate people and not address the issue.
Okay.
So they are motivational speakers right
You
now.
actually just there are issues. Let us tackle issues. Let's be real. Let's be realistic. Don't let us come here and say character. Some people that get this job are also married. They have the skill, but they also have the connection. We're not even talking about just the tall people. We're talking about, does it really exist? Is this a problem? Is this something that we need to talk about? Is this something we need to solve? Let's tackle those problems and we now begin to provide solution. Now, if you're saying that 1% out of 100% is good, then tell me what we're talking about. 99% already have the mindset that we are in an environment that connection is the order of the day.
Okay, can I tell you something?
I'll come to you.
Let me tell you.
Let him talk.
Say, referrals.
Okay.
Referrals are also a form of connection. Whether you like it
Obviously,
or not.
positive.
Right.
Use the word positive.
No, don't let us
Okay.
don't tell people positive, no positive. There's a problem. Let's if there's a wound,
Okay.
let's agree that there is a wound.
Okay.
And once we agree there is a wound, then we can say, okay, who is going to give us a solution? We cannot go to the doctor and say, doctor, for this wound, what do we need? The doctor will not tell us this is what we need. Then we cannot make progress. You can't tell me that the people that these CBN so-called people employ are not skill-based people. You don't have that fact. We are just assuming. I can tell you for free that there's a private business owner that works for a bank, and the person that signs his own contract also told him, my son does this, please employ my son. He had no choice because he knows that if he doesn't do it, he will sign it. Even in the government parastatus. Even in the government parastatus.
I will let you.
Ratios don't mean that because you've gotten it on that platform, then everybody's getting it on that platform. Don't generalize it, please. The second thing is, I have some information about some government, right? The government actually have given out the contract, right, to people. And they're like, okay, you've submitted the proposal already, no problem. They've agreed on the price, they've sealed the deal. They will now say, okay, for formality, let us advertise it so that people can.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless we don't exist in the
You know, when you hear the amount of support he's getting from here, when I said to you that is the thinking, most people believe everything he's saying is the order of the day. And there must be a reason why there is that thought process.
Okay, now, for what he said, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm telling you reality. I'm not telling you somebody's story. I'm telling you my story. And I'm also telling you, I can categorically say that I have like 3 friends who have gotten jobs presently on LinkedIn in Nigeria here. Now, will you call that connection?
My question to you.
Excuse me.
So just my question to you. My
all
question
right.
to you is,
Yes.
so that we can agree, right?
Okay.
So my question to you
No,
is...
I will know the essence of agreement.
My question to you is...
Yes.
Are you saying to us here
Okay.
that this connection doesn't exist? Now, if you're telling me it doesn't exist, it's a problem. But if you're telling me that there are fragments, if you're telling me that 3% of people or 5% of people out of 100% that gets the job,
Okay.
I can agree with you on that.
Okay.
But if you're not telling me that, no, some people get the job on 50-50, my brother is a lie.
That is not true.
It's a lie.
No, excuse me.
If your expectation is Kilimanjaro mountain and your reality is here, and you start burning yourself, then you will burn out. Have you heard do you know what we call burnout?
Yeah.
You will die in the process. And so many people, it has happened. So you must try
So what's
and
the difference between your expectations and your reality, as you said it, and the stress in between, and your striving to get somewhere, ambition?
Yeah, set goals for yourself. Work towards that goal. But it is not a do or die thing.
Okay, yes.
The example you made now with two guys who comes out with first class
Yes.
in economics, I had that situation when I was serving. Okay, myself and somebody else was sent to a particular hospital to serve. The person was connected. The person was taken and I was left out. Initially, I felt very bad, but I went back to the youth service guys and told them I was rejected. And they redeployed me again back to that same place. And I got a better place with accommodation even in that place. So what he said is very right. At times we don't need to force ourselves into things, because in doing that, at times, it may even take us off the normal course
Yeah, I like
of
it.
things.
Ask, it shall be given, right? Knock, the door shall be open, right? So, it's like the question you asked. Sometimes we are foolish enough to think that we're not meant to alter a process. If you're seeing a child that's going to cross the road and the car is going to hit the child, won't you stop the child? Are you going to say, because let's allow the process happen? If God is going to deliver the guy, let God deliver. If God's not going to deliver, I'm just going to watch. Is that what parents is going to do? As long as you've given the right morale and you build up the child to know that excellence and hard work will determine how far you will go. As a parent, it's your duty to be able to guide. Where you need to ask. Where you need to knock, so that they can progress. Now, all this expectation, ambition, we have come to this society whereby our own expectations are diminished. In the sense of, it's not a do or die. Man, for me right now, it's a do or die that I gotta be a billionaire. I don't know about nobody, and I'm not going to get people about it. You know
If
why?
you do or die that you have to be a billionaire.
Yes, you know why? Because the truth is that,
What are you willing to do to be a billionaire?
now, that's the thing. That's the question. The question now begins to, what's the plan? What's the process? Now, what's the positive steps I'm taking? How do I attain this thing? But we're now beginning to put it under the fact that your expectation, if it doesn't come, it doesn't come. You have to work hard to make it come. If you're working in a bank,
What if you work hard and it still doesn't come?
you keep working until you're gone. You have to keep working until you're gone. Now, Dangote that we're mentioning is not even slowing down. It's not slowing down at the age he is. He's still building refineries. It's still. And it's
You're
getting
actually the
old.
motivational speaker.
No, you know why? Because when questions like this begin to come, we must learn to understand that, say, there is two sides to a coin. And I'm not saying that negative part is very wrong. I stand to say it clearly. Do the right thing. Be hardworking. No problem. But the places you need to go and knock for employment, knock for employment. But the places that your uncle chips in a word for you, the onus is on you to make sure that you make your uncle proud, so that he doesn't regret the link or the note he gave to you. But don't diminish the people that got that note, saying that they are not qualified.
I think the gentleman speaking would have gotten it, but I agree with what the elderly man here said, that in life, expectations and reality are two different things, okay? Now, you see, in the world we live in, is an ecosystem, okay? You have the carnivorous, the herbivorous, and up to the decomposers. That means in every sphere of life, everybody cannot be the same. In Rave TV here, inside that, everybody cannot be the CEO, am I right? Some will be CEO, or you have CEO, you have marketers, you have presenters, you have cleaners. Am I not right? Yes, you will have gatekeepers. That means you have a sphere, as in classes. Hierarchy. So you can never rule that off, my dear brother.
That's to say that you can never rule out the place of connection. Whether you have it, good for you. You don't have it.
But it doesn't matter the amount of connection that my gatesman has. I cannot suddenly make
let me give
CEO.
Let me give you one example again, please.
The executive director. Because he doesn't have the skills to be that.
But that's the thing, the gate man, there will always be a gate man. There will always be a cleaner, there will always be a CEO. But the gate man does not have to be a gate man forever.
Yeah.
If he builds his skills, he can become something, which is what he's trying to say, that you work hard,
you
have a goal, keep striving.
You are all correct.
Yes, there will always be a gate man, but it doesn't have to be you.
Okay, what you're saying is there would always be a gate man. Just make sure you are not the gate man.
Exactly. Keep moving. Keep working hard.
He doesn't want to be the gate man.
Yes.
But you always have gate man.
Yes.
Okay. And
but I think we've not spoken to the. We've spoken to the young people. Okay. There's the opportunities for you. But we've not spoken to those who are actually in the practice of giving things to people that.
I think we have addressed that because I have to.
Yeah, but you mentioned something about that. It's good to emphasize it because, like I said, I believe intelligence has gone past that level. It's easier for you to even give that person allowance than give them a job they cannot do, and the organization fails or your reputation goes.
Do we even care about reputation today in Nigeria?
That's why we need to talk to people who do that, because there is a better way. If you keep paying for your children to pass exams and using coercion to get them jobs, you are actually creating a handicap because you will not be around forever. And then if you have not allowed that child to build the skills, what happens when you are no longer there? Or what happens when you're no longer the chairman of a company, you don't have that much clout anymore? That means that person becomes stagnant. The best thing that you can do...
And that is what happens a lot of the time.
Exactly.
That the owner of a business dies or leaves, and he puts his child in charge. We've seen it.
Yes.
The business collapses.
Exactly.
It doesn't even have to be the owner of a business. There are companies in this Nigeria, banks, where people at the top have put their people, and suddenly they move away, and another person comes, and he wheels them off, and brings his own people, and another person comes with them. It cannot be sustained. It's not sustainable. That's the point I'm making. We need to go back to the drawing board and say, because
I attended a sustainability lecture some time back, and one of the things I took away is they said the reason for the failure of most organizations in Nigeria is what you're saying, which is connection and merit. I want my son to be the one to take over my company.
Exactly.
I've had over 35 years in the corporate Nigeria, so I know what I'm talking about. You know, we need to redefine what keeps this country going. We are mixing so many things. The political class, they have their way of doing things. Unfortunately, they are the dominant group, and they seem to now influence the way other people do their things. We need to do it differently. We don't need to look at the political class. Their own is by patronage. Who supported me, who did not support me, who campaigned for me, who did not campaign for me. That is their lifestyle. Unfortunately, they are impacting so much in the economy. And that is why if you put up any argument on the social media, there's a lot of negative reactions. The young ones say, no, it is not like that, you know, it's understandable. But let us look at how does corporate Nigeria behave? there are some bad ones.
Because you see, the point is there's not a lot of corporate Nigeria left.
Yes,
Almost
but
they're struggling.
Yes.
And so then, what should have been the large employer of labor is now no longer relevant.
Okay.
yeah,
The
that's
businesses have been stifled. And the politicians seem to control
Yes.
that purse right now, which normally should not be theirs to control. I think that is what has led
to all these, and that's what we need to actually,
Okay,
talk to
let's take a
ourselves
break.
about.
After the break, we'll be talking to members of the audience and taking comments and questions. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
In the exam hall, we have 50 people, 40 fail and 10 pass. I want to establish that there is a successful failure in that examination.
There is a successful
Failure, just examination.
Okay.
Yeah, and eventually, when a culture lasts for up to 1 year, it becomes a tradition. What we are saying, truly speaking, remains a reality in Nigeria of today. In as much as we still believe in the small positive ones, but majority remains the negative side of it. There's nothing wrong with connection, there's nothing wrong, call it recommendation, whatever. But in a situation whereby the person you're recommending cannot render this service, or the person that is accepting wants to collect bribe, or the person that is suggesting wants to give bribe, then there is an error somewhere. But if it is based on merit, there's nothing wrong.
In Abuja, when I travel to Abuja, because I happen to have a friend there that is living in Abuja, the person is working in CBN. So fortunately, I was given the opportunity to get into the bank. So I now met one of the ladies out there. So the lady, I was just told that the lady just came from abroad. She schooled here, and she was given a job because her father happened to be one of the directors in this central bank. I was like, so later in a few days, they just gave the lady just a profit and loss account to prepare. Unfortunately, the lady could not prepare profit and loss account. So people were just wondering, how did this girl got the certificate from abroad? I was just wondering. Okay, just of recent, I was able to go to Ireland in Lekki. So we just prepared for the interview. So because HR, I want to throw these questions to you. At least before you call somebody for the interview, the person, that means the profession and the discipline of that person must match with the requirements. Okay, fine. The person was called for an interview. They said his discipline tally with the job or the vacancy. So the person just did the interview, everything. They asked them to come on the system. They did everything. Later, he came for the first one, the second round, the third round. Later, they just told the person, okay, fine, we are very sorry, your qualification doesn't match with the requirement. After the person has already struggled for 3 interviews, I was like, later they now said there's one man, one chief like that, just called the MD of the bank that, okay, please, my son has to be there. And they just disqualify the whole people. So in the areas of connection, I think it's too rampant in Nigeria, and it has to be abolished, which is the right things we have to do.
I personally realize that a lot of young people today are not ready for knowledge, and they cannot really do anything in life if you do not have the requisite knowledge for that. It is very difficult to acquire knowledge. Many of them, if like what the last speaker was saying, many of them do not read today. And all they do is to browse. And sometimes when you read what they put on Facebook, you begin to wonder whether these people have gone through the university. And we also know that the moment you sacrifice merit, you are enthroning mediocrity. And that's exactly what we are seeing everywhere. And part of it is the endemic corruption we are having here. So we have to direct the way we see things. Like Chief was saying here, we have to reevaluate our values, because this takes us nowhere.
Okay, I want to make a comment. People are saying that the youths of today are very lazy and that we aren't hardworking, but that's a lie. Like this year, I did the JAM of this year that was really messed up. And when I did the research, I found out that people that are taken into university and people that apply for JAM, there's a gap, a very large gap. Like for instance, courses like law, medicine, accounting, all those courses now, over like 1,000 people, or like medicine for instance, like OAU, UI, UNILAG, over 7,000 people put in medicine as their first choice for these schools. When I went to do my research, I found out that they're only going to take 100 from all these people. So do you know how people are going to be cut off each year? Some people try 3 years in a row and they don't get in. So you still hear stuff like the VC's list, and someone is calling him connections from somewhere else. So you see, somewhere along the line, people get frustrated, like, is this really how it's going to be?
I'd like to take last line, something you want the viewers at home to remember about this topic. And I'm going to start with you, Elijah John.
Okay.
You represent the young generation who's working really hard.
Yeah, to the young Nigerians, it's important that we must understand that hard work is very important. Drive is very important. Determination is very important. Regardless of whether there's connection or no connection, just keep knocking until that door opens up to you. It is important. Let us change the wrong impression about what the older generation have about us, that we are not hardworking, we are not, we just want it fast.
The microwave generation.
The microwave generation. Even though things are in the jet age, but you know what I mean. But let's prove them wrong. Let's live right. Let's lead right, and make sure that we make history and we are change agents to our generation.
Yes, Chief.
For the people who are watching that are at home, I want to tell us that we should allow our inner self to guide us in our behaviors. We should not look at it that the other person is progressing so fast, therefore I must progress so fast. Or that the other person has all the connections, so therefore I must have connection. If I don't have, I will kill myself. You don't have to kill yourself. We should allow our potentials to unfold. Like he said, we should work hard. We should continuously improve on ourselves. We should look forward to having good things, work for them. If they come, let's be grateful to the Almighty that they have come. If they don't come, let's wait until the time that it will come. Let us not do things because we must have it and then we regret thereafter.
Thank you very much. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'll say two things. First of all, that serious employers, they know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And if they see it in you, they will take you. Serious employers. And there are lots of them out there. So before you give up, before you feel there's no point, I don't have a connection, so let me not bother, develop yourself. First of all, get to know what these employers are looking for. It's very simple. If you Google employability skills, you find them. After you know what they're looking for, push yourself to become those things. Learn how to sell yourself so that when you meet a serious employer that's not just looking to give out jobs for favor's sake, you will be picked for the job.
And not give up. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Kaya.
Okay, to the viewers at home and the audience, we should take this message back in our hearts and ponder on it that homes are the first place where these things originate from. We have to change whatever mindsets our parents have put there to say, without connection, you can't make it. I'm there for you always. Tell them, I want to stand on my feet. And when I stand on my feet, I can do this. You have to have this I can do attitude. And as you grow older and you have your own children, you have to also indoctrinate them with this and pass it on so that we can have a new Nigeria. A Nigeria we can look up to and say, okay, things are gotten on merits. and no longer on mediocrity. So that this old ideology we have that everything is gotten on connection, we phase out. Then we tell our younger ones as we are having children, whatever you have, you must get it on merit. When we get that right, we are going to get it right in the society. Thank you.
That's a good way to end it. I think that it is, we need to change our mindset and start to re-engineer our brains to know that things can be done on merit. And that you can actually achieve on merit. Yes. You don't. I pray for that day. I really do. And I guess if we believe it enough and start to act it, not just believe it, that it will happen. If you have comments or suggestions for this topic, please send an email to us at insideoutwithagatha@yahoo.com or visit our Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/InsideOutWithAgatha, or follow us on Twitter at InsideOutMedia. I'd like to thank Lucius Beauty and Essentials for my makeup, Voltic Water, Voltic Nigeria Limited for the water, and KGM Industries Limited. Until next week, when we come your way again talking about something else equally as interesting, bye-bye and see you next week.